Yeah, welcome to this video about round 3 of the Biel Grandmaster Tournament in Biel, Switzerland. Yeah, sad news today. It is that Alexander Morozevich had to withdraw from the tournament due to some health issues. There are no details posted, so I don't know more than you do, probably, if you read it already. So he's unable to complete this tournament. He lost the first 2 games. This maybe also explains his somewhat, weird performance in those 2 games than if he wasn't in good health. So this maybe explains why he was sort of out of sorts in those games. So he'll leave home, or maybe already left home, to get proper treatment. And he's actually replaced by another player, and this is Viktor Bologan from Moldavia. He's also very strong grandmaster, 2,700 something rated, and he will join the tournament starting tomorrow even, so he's there on very short notice. And I think he will also give us some interesting chess to watch. Alright, today's game. So Carlsen didn't play today. He had this game scheduled with Morozevich, so this wasn't played. But we had two interesting games coming up anyway, and this was first one was Anish Giri with white against Etienne Bacrot, and Bacrot was brave enough to play the King's Indian again, which he already did against Wang and lost. And he lost again due to some, it looked to me, a very deep preparation and a super complicated game. The other game which I'm going to show you is Wang, China's number 1, against US number 1 player Hikaru Nakamura. And this was a sharper than sharp game. So let's get going here. Wang played e4. He plays both e4 and d4, so hard to prepare. And Nakamura goes straight for the Sicilian Najdorf. He plays all kinds of openings, of course, but the Najdorf is a constant guest in his games. He plays it rather often and also fits his uncompromising style. Wang Hao goes for bishop g5, the old main line, maybe the sharpest move. e6 now, and f4. Here white, after f4, has to reckon with various black's moves. Black can play basically everything has been tried here, from bishop e7 to queen c7 to knight bd7, of course the notorious queen b6 move, the poison pawn variation, Fischer's and also Kasparov's favorite line, which can lead to hair-raising stuff here with white giving up this pawn on the queen side, but black being very much underdeveloped. So all kinds of moves possible here. And another move which is actually very rarely played is the one that Hikaru here chooses. He plays b5, and this is the so-called Polugayevsky variation developed by back then Soviet Grandmaster Lev Polugayevsky. He invested back in the day, we are talking about the 1970s here, he invested maybe weeks or months to analyze this line. He even wrote a book about it, this whole procedure in analyzing this very fascinating line. And he played it with quite some success in the 70s and 80s. Nowadays it's considered to be rather risky, but this is basically all I know. I never considered playing this with either color, so I don't know the details. Well, b5 obviously is the move that black wants to play, because he's got this idea of b4 undermining the e4 pawn. So this is simply the most aggressive move you can play. But it has got one drawback, and this is what's played in the game. Of course, the move e5. First, you might think, okay, black is just losing a piece here with this pin, but black has a trick here. He can take, and now the move queen c7. This is quite funny. Queen attacks the e5 pawn, and now yeah, white has, I think, some other options, but the main move here by far is to capture on f6. I think Tal once even tried to sack on b5 against Bulgaevsky. Okay, e takes f6. Black gives this check, and this way get the bishop back. White interposes here with his bishop, and black gets the bishop back. So we have a really yeah, unique position where yeah, black has only the queen developed, and he's wide open on the queen side. Here he's got those two pawn moves in, but has got nothing developed here. This kind of stuff can be an issue, and black's king is still in the center. So this whole line is obviously very risky. White has got 3 pieces out already, and yeah, what's the point here for black? Why go for this? Well, black has 2 bishops, which is oops, I didn't want to do that. I want to do that. Black has the 2 bishops, and a potentially very strong bishop, this dark squared bishop on f8, is unopposed. White is somewhat weak on the dark squares. So in the long term, if black doesn't get mated, he will have a very good position. But unfortunately, he rather often gets mated in this line. Okay, but I'm not a theoretical expert, and I don't have the time to invest like hours to get a picture of this. So I'll go to the main points of this game happening later. White castles here. He's got alternatives, but okay, castles. And now the somewhat extravagant looking rook a7, which is actually not so uncommon in this kind of Sicilian positions. Black tries to immediately get the rook to d7 and utilizing here this d file. So white is nicely developed, but he's got loose pieces. This d4 knight is somewhat loose in the center. It's not supported by pawn and can be pinned with the rook or maybe even bishop c5. So black really quickly tries to use this aspect of the position, but he's not actually nearing proper development. So white goes queen d3 now, preparing the rook ad1, and also protecting this e3 square, where maybe black's queen was intending to get a check in. Black goes rook d7 as promised, and now sets up this simple threat. So white needs to react. He threatens to take and play bishop c5. So white would play a move like this here. Then black can grab this and win the queen and the game. So white needs to attend to this threat, and he goes knight e4. Certainly a understandable move, using a tempo on the queen and getting rid of this threat. Queen e5, and now the tricky move, knight f3. He retreats from this this pin and attacks the queen. Yeah, the queen really needs to go here. What square to choose? He chooses queen c7. In fact, here instead of queen c7, of course, one alternative was to simply grab also this pawn, but this really looks super risky to grab even more material. I don't think there's an apparent refutation, maybe, but very risky. Okay, queen c7 is sort of logical to get this all coordinated. White needs to move his queen. It was attacked by the rook, so this sidestep, and black now bishop b7. Finally developing a minor piece, and knight g5. Yeah, around here I think we're maybe on new territory. At least I didn't find any games in my database which is not the biggest one around, but it doesn't seem like it's a super popular position. Let's put it that way. Knight g5. Yeah, obviously intending to do something on those sensitive squares. Also maybe allowing attacking moves on e6 and f7. So these are white's main attacking points, e6 and f7. Black plays h6, attacking this knight and immediately trying to clarify the situation here. And now Wang Hao played queen h3, using this pin of the pawn to protect the knight. He had alternatives. One interesting one was actually immediately sacrificing on f7. White could do that. Possible lines are, let's say, black captures with the rook. Then white has got this possibility, pinning this piece. And now black, I think, only has got one possible defense, just because white is also threatening to take on g7 and getting the rook into play and win everything back with interest. So black needs to play g6 here. There's no other move. White takes and rook g8, winning a tempo here on the bishop. And then possible continuation could be take here.
Check.
King takes, queen e2, rook g6. Something like this. And very likely that black is fine here. He's got the rook here on a nice position and maybe has got ideas to get his pieces into good spots here. I don't think knight f7 is so great. An alternative would be king f7. It's also playable. This can lead to an immediate draw. Let's say I need to do this in some other way here. Just a second. King f7, and here white could play knight g5, takes, and
check.
This one also with check. King takes, queen
check.
g5, and this will end in a perpetual check, which black cannot avoid. It's just a draw. All right, so this was an alternative, but black at least had the possibility to get this. Oh, I stepped back to too many moves. I was talking about knight f7 here. This is at least a draw for black, so white avoided this, queen h3, and now g6 played. Certainly an understandable move, trying to keep this closed here on the king side. Bishop d3, also, yeah, a move that's understandable. Getting on those sensitive squares, also protecting the knight. Knight c6, catching up in development. And here white played king h1. Yeah, the sort of ever useful move here with the f-pawn. Yeah, having been moved, this king move is really something you have to do very often. White here had alternatives. He could, of course, think of sacrificing here, and this leads to a complete mess, I think. So knight f7, of course, is the move that you can consider. What could happen if black takes with the king? Then white
check.
Throws in another check and another piece. Here, queen h8, and now just a cool move, knight e5, with the idea to get rid of this bishop. And yeah, this is very hard to analyze. Just a possible line. Let's say rook e1, possibly intending to even take this knight. Something like this could happen. Black setting up a counter threat.
Check.
Queen here.
Check.
Takes on g6. King here. Queen g5. Yeah, and it's a complete mess. Don't know what's happening here. First instinct is that black may be okay with these potentially very strong bishop pointing here on the king side, but the f-pawn isn't bad either, so it's completely unclear. On knight f7 though, black doesn't need to take with the king. He can also consider taking with the rook.
Check.
Queen check. King d8, and okay, of course this looks really hairy here. Difficult for black to play. And then a cool move like rook 81, just intending those discovered checks. And well, it looks really, really dangerous. Rook d7 I think is the only move even. And this could continue along these lines. f7 with a simple but very very mighty threat. Queen e5 to cover the e8 square. And then a possible line would be taking on g6, king c7, and well, you can really continue from here. It's a complete mess. Let's say knight f6, bishop d6, and then white could even take on d7, allowing those checks here. And the computer actually tells me it's a draw by repetition. Everything else would lose. So in a practical game between human players, it's an absolutely murderous position to play. This whole opening choice for black is of course super risky. You sort of really put your hand into the lion's mouth and hope that it doesn't bite. I'm not saying black is worse. I mean, maybe black is perfectly fine. It's just yeah, dancing on a tightrope. Okay, so what actually happened here? He didn't take on f7, he played king h1, preparing all this. And black responded knight e5, attacking this this bishop, possibly taking it, but also covering not e6, but g6. g6 and f7. Black covers those sensitive squares. And white puts all his pieces into effect. Rook a1. Bishop b4, yeah, attacking the rook here on e1, which moves to e3. I'm still staying on the e file. And now bishop d5, also a move to protect e6, so it's a nice defensive move. And white decides on a regrouping here. He plays bishop e2, possibly tending to reroute this piece to g4 and then sacrificing on e6. Yeah, here black played knight c4. An alternative which the computer absolutely loves for black is to grab another pawn, but I think he just rejected this because it's very dangerous to to grab another pawn. Maybe this is the best move, but I mean, for a human player with 25 minutes on the clock, a very tough decision. Just a sample line, a3 here, maybe. Knight c4. Bishop takes. Yeah, rook g1. And this, for example, looks absolutely good for black. It's not super clear, but something like this here. This is not entirely clear if black is really winning here. He's got 2 extra pawns, but white still has some initiative. But I think he would have chosen this. I think he disliked something else about the pawn grab. Well, he didn't grab the pawn. He played knight c4, which looks very logical also, activating this knight. Rook d3 and queen e5, activating the queen. So I think by now we can say that black should be okay here. He's got all his pieces out except for the rook on h8 and the king is on e8. But he's got the 2 bishops, very nice bishop on d5, good knight on c4, and you really don't see at the moment that white should have something decisive here. Still, it's of course very difficult to play this position. White went bishop g4 now. Yeah, and this is the critical position here. Here, Nakamura played, I think maybe already, a losing move. From a good position to a very bad position in one move. This is just typical of those ultra sharp lines here. What he played is he played knight to d6. But let me show some alternatives. What would happen if black takes on e4? This is something you need to consider. Possibly white just recaptures here. And if black now would take on e4, then white has this cute idea. I'm not sure if this is so great for black. It's not entirely clear, but maybe he's got something better. One alternative actually was to be greedy and just grab even another pawn. And it's not clear if white has got anything decisive. At least the computer doesn't find anything after like 2 minutes or something. It doesn't seem to have an easy solution. I mean, all kinds of pieces are hanging for white, and it's not apparent that he can sacrifice. Maybe he can just grab it. It's very difficult to tell. What he did looked very natural, really, but it has a huge drawback. He played this knight d6 move, and now white can really break through here. Rook takes d5. This is very strong. The simple point being, if black would take with the pawn, you just grab here and just win the game, being lots of material up. So black needs to take with the queen, and now it continues. The next blow here, bishop takes e6. Again, black has no choice. He needs to grab this. As also the queen was saying, rook was saying, you need to take. And now the strong follow-up, f7 check. And now black is really in huge trouble. What should he do? Let's start with the easy ones. If he would take with the knight, white has this check here, winning the queen. So he cannot take with this piece. In the game, he played king d8, but rook f7 was an idea. Then white grabs here, queen takes, knight f7. And at first you think black can resign, but he actually has the funny move castles, using this position on the f-file. So if white would grab the queen, it's rook f1 checkmate. So castles, castles. And what white can do is he can just play queen here, queen e7,
check,
and now trade everything off to a winning endgame. With an extra pawn and the better pawn structure, white is winning quite easily here. So this was rook takes f7, king e7 is another move, and this is really nice now. Maybe this is what Nakamura overlooked. I don't know. Queen h6. It's not so difficult, but it's a very, very cute move. If black would take now on h6,
checkmate.
It's mate. Very nice. So black cannot grab the queen. So what should he do? The only move really is rook back, covering f8, the f8 square. But this doesn't really help. White can just promote here and give a check here. This is all forced. And here white can again trade down to an endgame. This is not so clear-cut compared to the other endgame, which is quite similar. But there black had a far worse king position. Still white should be close to winning. Sorry, close to winning here with the extra pawn. Black's activity shouldn't be enough here. So on f7 he went king d8. Yeah, and now
Check.
white just grabs e6 with check. King move, and now
Check.
promotion. So white managed with this rook sacrifice at the end to promote the pawn and get back
Check.
his material. And now he needs to even play this somewhat poor looking bishop d8 move. He couldn't play a king move because of a super huge fork here. Queen d7 also on the cards, so black just loses everything here. He cannot move the king, so he needs to play this self pin. And here white just needs to be careful a bit, because black has a counter mate threat here on d1. White captured on d6, and here black played the funny move king b8. He could of course take on d6 with the queen, but this should
Check.
this kind of stuff, all only moves, leads to winning king and pawn endgame with just the extra d pawn, which wins easily. Yeah, black is just losing. Yeah, this knight d6 move simply, I think, gave the game away from a very good position to almost lost position. So he played this funny king move, because there's still this mate threat. So white needs to attend this, and the only real possibility is to get the rook back. And now black takes. Yeah, now white plays it simple. He just takes the bishop on d8. Black, okay, a little teasing move here, threatening queen f1 checkmate. White attends to this, and now black must recapture.
Check.
Yeah, now white just grabbed this pawn on g6, and his 2 pawns up for the good, and black still has a bad king position. So this should be winning. We can look at the rest of this. White just
Check.
kept the positive sides about its position, 2 extra pawns, and
Check.
try to attack here the king. Yeah, black has got a little bit of activity, but you simply cannot force any serious concessions for white. He just needs to regroup a bit. Here h3 gives a little bit of room for the king, and white can try to improve his position with something like, let's say, rook c1 and then queen d1, and then trying to activate here on c and d file. I think white is really winning. What Hikaru played now, he played queen g3. This of course makes it a bit easier, but it was lost anyway. White just now plays queen h2, and using this pin gets rid of the queens, and this is really resignable. And okay, Hikaru resigned here with black. He's got no alternative to allowing a queen exchange, and then those 2 pawns in the rook endgame just decide the day. Yeah, a very sharp game. I mean, really this whole line was telling the white player, okay, we don't draw today, we play a really sort of a fist fight kind of chess game. And it seems that Hikaru let his cover down for just 1 moment, which Wang really took advantage of with this rook d5 move. So at this position here, queen, this move here, knight to d6, really was a big deal. Knight d6 and rook d5. This decided the game. Yeah, so let's have a quick look at the standings. It's a bit butchered up, of course, because Magnus only has 2 games played. But, the tournament leader is Anish Giri with 2 wins and a draw. Very good performance up to now. But Wang Hao also has got 2 wins. He won the first round against Bakro, and now this game against Nakamura. Yeah, Nakamura on -1. He lost 1 game and drew 2 games with very interesting fighting chess, but didn't pay off yet. And okay, then we have got Bakro, who won one nice game against Mirosevic but lost two. So it's a very, very fighting tournament. We've got far more decisive games up to now than draws, so nice stuff. Alright, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the game. If you're a fan of Hikaru, you yeah, you might not be too thrilled to see this, but he's got all chances to come back with his kind of style. He can always start a series of wins as well. Yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll cover more games from Biel soon.